Okay, this hand B has got 3-card 8 in relatively late position. He does have one baby to act behind him. And the under the gun player is going to complete with a 6. The 10 gets out of the way, and it's B's turn to act. What do you think he should do? Now, again, this is a pretty marginal situation. If villain is relatively tight, because there's not a whole lot in the pot, because of the small antes and only 5 players, I would get rid of it here with the 8 showing. If villain, on the other hand, is a little bit more aggressive, or could be stealing with, a couple of bricks and a couple of mediocre cards showing behind him, then I would call. Again, this is really a very marginal decision, and for a more advanced player, yeah, I'd probably call here almost all of the time, but for a beginner, it could be a trouble spot because you really don't have a good handle on villain's range. You're certainly not giving up a lot of value by folding. And it's also possible that the 7 behind you wakes up with a hand and with a 3-card 7 decides to raise because he knows he can beat you, even if he doesn't know whether he can beat the original raiser. But with smooth hole cards, a couple of wheel cards here, if you're an experienced player or if you're looking to gain a little bit more experience, get yourself into some spots that may be tough, then I would call in this case. But B folds, certainly not a bad play for a beginner. Now it looks like the table's starting to break here. They're down to 4 players. B has, decent stack here. I'm sure he's ready to cash it out and, rub it somewhere. But we got one more hand to go over, so let's take a look at what he does. Bringing is with a 7, so everybody's got good cards this time. And under the gun with the deuce just flat calls. The other deuce puts in a raise. Very interesting. So, B, what are you going to do here? Well, I think you're certainly going to play. You're obviously not going to fold the 3-card 7 in this case. And if you're going to play, you might as well be 2-betting, because if the bring-in has something like an 8 in the hole, you can probably force him out. Certainly if the limper has something like an 8 or a 9 in the hole, you can force him out, which you would like to do. Now, you could get 3-bet if this villain has a 3-card 6 or a 3-card wheel, but because there's another 7 dead, that adds to your equity a little bit. You're not going to be far behind. And, you clear out the field a little bit, which will help your equity in the long run, but also may help keep you out of difficult decisions later on in the hand, which we know B is not always up to doing at this point in his Razz career. He does raise. Nice work. And the original limper just calls. Now, when the raiser 3-bets, at this point, you're never going to shake this guy loose. And he must have something decent in the hole, I think, to have called the raise after just limping. So at this point, I would just flat call, because you're probably not getting any value out of capping, and you're certainly not representing any kind of super strong range because your 7 is showing, and you're not liable to make the last player fold.